Supriya, great to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and I'm excited to dig into it.
Oh man, I kind of want to just know. I don't want to waste any time. I mean, take me through like the thought process when you start getting scripts for a show like this, because like from a viewer perspective, just seeing everything that happens just in one hour episode, like I just want to go just back to kind of getting the scripts. Like, what is going through your mind? Are you focusing on the medical? Are you focusing on like what are you focusing on specifically?
I mean, I will say my situation is a little unique. I do have a background in medical stuff, so I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to. So I don't really focus on the medical stuff as much because I have a tendency to focus too much on that, maybe because it's easier.
Yeah.
So I really try to break down the subtext and the beats of what's under the medicine
Hmm.
before I go to set. And that's really what I try to focus on.
Hmm.
And then when we're on set, especially when we're filming a trauma scene, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, it's insane.
Yeah.
They require us to be off book by the time we get to set, which is like
Hmm.
not typical for most shows. They will give you sides.
Hmm.
But for our show, we don't really have that. And I kind of understand because it would be crazy if we were not. There's so much medical jargon that we really need to be on top of.
Hmm.
And then when we're filming the trauma scenes, I mean, it's like a choreographed dance. Like we're all
Yeah.
just trying to around each other and make sure we're getting our actions in and timing it at the same time for continuity. And there, I mean, it takes a village. There's like the props people are on their A game, the costumes people are on their A game, VFX is on their A game, the med techs, so we have like actual doctors and nurses on set to make sure that we're not screwing this up all the
Hmm.
time. So I mean, it takes a village really, and I think that's really what you're seeing on the
Yeah,
show.
we're getting down to the wire with the last couple of episodes coming out on Max, which is crazy. And I want you to answer this in regards to kind of like seeing it kind of come to life on screen, because you get the character breakdowns, and it's one thing to read what happens to your characters and how your character is acting and everything, and then a lot might happen once you actually go to camera. But your character, there is this I belong here, I want to do this, I know what I'm doing type thing component to your character that, might or might not rub other kind of doctors or people around the wrong way, essentially. But she does mean well, and I think she's there for everyone. Did that feel like a ping pong match reading that in the script a little bit? Because there's some situations where she goes a little overboard and people are like, hey, you need to stop doing that. But then some people kind of understand her. Like, I find that interesting with your character.
Absolutely. I think she's a great response to the medical system as a whole, right? I think she's written as a response to that because the reason why you want to move fast in the ER and you really want to make sure you're processing patients quickly is because it's a volume game because that's what insurance wants, right? And so that is like essentially the real tension. I think if you're thinking about the ER in that sense, like that is why Robby is upset. That is why it is why so many people are waiting for care because we have an incredibly badly structured medical system. And I
Mhm.
think she's someone that maybe doesn't want to accept that, maybe wants to fight against it, maybe doesn't want to work within it, even though it's there.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's positives and negatives to that.
Yep.
And I can absolutely see why it would rub someone the wrong way because I'm a burden to the rest of the team. And I mean some of the patients in a way who are in the waiting room. But
Mhm.
then at the same time, you see me make some saves that, or my character makes some saves that no other doctor would because they don't really take that same amount of time,
Yes.
or like really dig in and go in holistically. So it's definitely like a tension that, certainly we were aware of when we were writing and developing the character. I think it's really lovely that they're showing this archetype of the doctor that cares too much in such a complex way.
Yep.
I think that's something they haven't really done as much before. And I also, as an actor, really wanted to make sure that I was showing the complexity of it. Like I
Mhm.
didn't just want her to be like a girl that cares too much. I think there's like trauma there as to why she
Yes.
acts. She lost her father, I mean, in an ER setting. I
Yep.
think there's like something going on there, right? Where she's like reworking through that and maybe thinking she can save someone, save something, make herself feel better. And she is incredibly empathetic, but she isn't always nice. And I think all of those characteristics really were something that Scott and I really wanted to develop
Yeah.
in her.
Absolutely. Is there ever a moment while you're thinking about the audience watching the pit while you're making it, or does that happen a little bit after you wrap? Like, when do you start being conscious of the audience member specifically?
be honest, this is my first series regular, so
Congratulations.
thank you so much. I mean, it's the first time I've had to do anything that was this important. And I remember filming it, and it kind of just felt like I was just having fun with my friends and, you know, learning from some really cool people and working with some amazing directors. And then I think it was while we were filming that the first 2 episodes came out or something like
Yes.
that. And I just kind of went like, oh, people are watching, and I hope I did a good job, because that's recorded and it's gonna come out. And I mean, I wasn't surprised by how many people were watching, but I think I just didn't really process that that there would be a response to what I was doing. So that was definitely like a new experience for sure. But I do think as an actor, like I want to take the audience outside of it, because I don't want to get self-conscious, and I don't want to be worried about, is she nice? Do I look good right now? Do I, like, you know, whatever? Like I really want to make sure that I'm like portraying the character to the best of my ability. So, you know, I kind of view the audience reaction and I find it interesting, but I try to just let it kind of go over my head, because
Absolutely. No, it's because there's definitely a lot of things that happen in this show, and you know, I'm sure we're not going to go into big details, but it's like there's a lot of like, oh my goodness moments in this whole series that, you know, like sometimes you'll be like, I wonder how people are going to be about that, but I understand 100% what you're saying. So it's interesting, right? Because episodes are rolling out on Max, and this is a 15-hour shift. Every episode is 1 hour, and I feel like we could talk about the fact that I feel like, you know, with everything going on in the medical room, in the ER, and you know, we still learn about a lot of your characters, like you said. But I feel like, you know, at some point, you know, like not big spoilers because the episodes are out, but you know, there is that announcement that, you know, there is a mass shooting that happens, and there's a lot of casualties, and there's this big rush, and there's this preparation. I want to know for you as an actor, because I feel like those, you know, like mass shooting scenes with all the victims from the concert, the live show, that felt like its own TV show or movie from a viewer perspective. Like I feel like those, so I'm wondering, was there different preparation for those scenes and that sequence, or did it all feel like the pit specifically?
No, it was totally different.
Yeah.
Normally in a trauma scene, we have like one trauma that we're working on, and we're filming that one trauma. For the red zone, which my character is in, there were like 5 to 6 happening at the same time, and we had med techs coming on, making sure that all of them were at the same level of accuracy, and you know, making sure that we still hit that mark um, of I guess I'm thinking the word accuracy, hitting that mark of accuracy with
Yes.
all of them. And so that definitely, in filming it, definitely felt a lot more tricky for sure. But then as I was doing it, I mean, I just kept thinking this is so realistic as to what would actually happen. I mean, we're doing make believe. This is really what would actually happen if a hospital experienced a mass casualty incident. And of course it's tricky filming 5 trauma scenes together, but then, you know, in real life this would all be happening at the same time, and it's actually life or death. Absolutely, the tone of the show shifted. I mean, I love how our show really broke down the protocols that we use in an ER, really breaks down how doctors handle a mass casualty incident, because I think that it's so important to show the medical side of this.
Totally.
Gun control is a healthcare crisis in America. I think it's the leading cause of death for children, even more so than cancer, which is insane. It is, I mean, it's a healthcare crisis. And I think it's so important that our show is exposing that and kind of saying, well, what about doctors? Doctors have to deal with this. And important to show that you're essentially adding problems to an overwhelmed ER that could be prevented.
And as an actor, are you conscious of everything kind of packed in the pit, like you said, like important kind of, you know, there's important commentary about a lot of things, and then there's like the medical component, but then we learn about everyone's backstories and what they're going through. Are you aware of that as an actor? And are you aware of that when you read the scripts, or does that happen a little bit more once you kind of start filming it, so to speak, that there's so much kind of in there?
Yeah, I mean, we do like a table read before every episode, and so like, you know, even though I might not film every scene, even though I'm in the background for for a lot of them, we are aware of like everyone's storylines, and I do think it's in the writing, and I do love that our show is so political. I do love that they're trying to push these themes, especially in an era like this. Like, I think it's so important that they're initiating these types of discussions, and it's just so lovely to be on a show where they care about those types of things. And so we were always like aware that, you know, of course it's a medical show, but we want to make sure that we're sending the right message across and we're saying something important with the platform that we have. So I think everyone on the show is on board and aware of all of those things for sure.
Getting down to the wire, the last couple of episodes of season 1 of The Pitt, and we know we're getting season 2, which is the best, and I can't wait when that eventually happens. But congratulations, and thank you so much for your time. It was so great chatting with you.
Of course, it was so great chatting with you as well. I hope we can talk soon.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.